Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this HJ and Professional Beauty Goes Live with the fabulous founders, I love that, the fabulous founders of the Save Our Salons UK campaign. So I'm delighted to be joined this afternoon by an inspirational group. So we have Hellen Ward of the Richard Ward Hair Metrospa, we have Stephen Nurse from Daniel Galvin, we have Luke Hersheson from Hershesons, and we have Toby Dicker from the Chapel Group. Hi guys, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this afternoon.
Welcome.
Lovely to be here.
You are doing a phenomenal job of uniting the industry. So firstly, congratulations on that. I mean, I think the campaign in a very short space of time has massively got some legs. But really this afternoon, we wanted to help share that message further and get anybody who's not engaged and doing the right things to help the industry as a whole. So I think the best way to start was, I mean, I know that this started from a WhatsApp group that you started, Hellen. So in the first lockdown with kind of salon owners, like-minded salon owners, that was a tool for communication and talking about what you were doing with the teams and the businesses, etc. And actually this has extended into this fantastic campaign. So if maybe you could all just say why you wanted to get involved with the campaign to give people a bit of a flavour. So do you want me to pick on someone? Shall I go? Ladies first, Hellen, I'm going to come to you first.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, it did start with this WhatsApp group because at that point we didn't know, are we opening tomorrow? Is everyone closing tomorrow? What do we do? Do we pay people? Do we lay people off? What do we do? And it sort of went on from there, really. And I think the five of us, because we are missing Kim Clayton here, but the five of us really began to get very concerned about the VAT and began to think that this was really something that would actually help us out. And then the more we dug and delved a bit, we found out that, you know, there wasn't really a voice for those of us who are paying the VAT ourselves and employing the staff and had the shop keys in our hands. So we all sort of began to work together really closely as a group, and it's really just gone on from there.
Yeah, who's going to go next? Luke?
Yeah. I mean, I think I echo what Hellen said. I mean, yes, it did start on a WhatsApp group, and I think if there's anything kind of good to pull out of this pandemic, which is, let's be honest, not a lot. One thing it's done is unite people. I think there's been a real sense of we're all in the same boat, and we all need to kind of get out of this boat together, and we're stronger together than we are apart. All historically being kind of competitors in similar areas. But actually, I think, you know, that kind of old saying of kind of, you know, two minds is better than one, and just sticking together. I think we've really felt that through, you know, the community we've built on Instagram and the website. There's this real sense of, you know, hairdressers kind of wanting to stand up, be counted, and, you know, have their voice heard. So I think it's been quite powerful for the industry, and you know, please God, we'll be successful, and if not, we'll have to, you know, think of plan B. But I think that's a good sign, a good thing for the industry to really bring it together.
No, I'd agree. And we were,
I think,
aren't we? Sorry, Stephen.
Yeah, just again echoing what Hellen and Luke said. And for me, I think it was about keeping it super simple. You know, yeah. That was our objective. We wanted to have one mission, one goal, and hold the hands of like-minded salon owners throughout the UK to achieve this objective.
Yeah, Toby.
Thank you. Yeah, and the fact that we stopped, it was more anger and that we hadn't been represented fairly. I felt enormously angry that hospitality had been given support, and once again that the hairdressing industry had been ignored. And I think that's a big part of it for me, that coming together and actually going, yeah, actually, what is the one single thing that will help VAT paying salons to get back on their feet while they've taken this debt on? You know, they've already got huge amounts of debt. And so for me, two things. One, really making it simple. Stephen has kept us on track with that, and saying, right, what is the one key thing? And it is this emergency reduction in VAT. It is the fact that for us, if for every £100 people turn over, they can put an extra 12 quid in the till, and viable long-term businesses can survive. But it's that thing, and echoing what Luke said, the community spirit, the fact that there isn't an ownership of this, and we tried very deliberately to keep that so that everyone can own it. Every salon owner can stand up and go, do you know what, I'm going to write to my MP. It's the first time I've ever done it, but I'm pissed off. And right now, I'm going to stand up for myself, and I'm going to go out there and try and make a difference. And I think, you know, that's what galvanized me anyway. I'm sorry for swearing.
No, sorry. I feel like I'm on the BBC and I should apologise for Toby swearing, but
Can we have £1 into our swear box, Jane, and we can donate it to the hair and beauty charity afterwards?
I think as well, just to add to what the team have already said, you know, as salon owners, we deserve this. We deserve a break. You know, the costs of employment as such, dealing with landlords, there is not much there's not much piece of the pie left anymore. So be proud. This is what we deserve.
Absolutely, and it's kind of I think we all agree that the hair and beauty industry for a very long time has gone unrecognised and hasn't been given its profile. And actually, as Luke said, the positive of the pandemic has been how the hairdressing industry's come together as a community, but also the recognition and love and need that there is from the general public for the well-being perspective as well as the look good perspective. So the two have kind of come at the right time together. So you've set up the website, which is saveoursalons.co.uk, but just tell people what they can do. There are 6 simple steps, aren't there? What is it you want people to do, and how do they do it?
Captain, that's one for you.
Yeah, Captain Scarlett, over to you.
Well, I mean, the six key steps are really, first and foremost, go onto the website. The 6 key steps are at the bottom. Part 1 is find your MP. Find your MP, put your postcode in. It will give you all the details you need. Part 2 is download our template letter. Fill in what you want to say to your MPs. That's the most important thing. That's personal. And 3, arm yourself with the information by downloading the other fact sheet that we've done. And then we want you to send those things off. Number 4. Number 5 is to shout about it on social. Use the hashtags that we have. And number 6 is to register. And actually, more importantly now than before, registering and filling in our survey is really, really important. And the reason for that is, and we'll talk more about it, is that we can directly feed our survey now back to people that are making decisions right now about our business. And the reason for doing this right now is there's a budget in 2 weeks' time. And if we can make a loud enough noise, we might have an opportunity to make this actually work.
Yeah.
Just to add to that, you know, if you find the prospect of a meeting with your MP a little bit daunting, which is completely understandable, we are more than happy to help you. We've been doing that thus far. We can quote the stats and the numbers, but what they're really interested in is your stories. Just tell your story. They're really heartfelt, and they are there to represent you.
Yeah.
It's I think it's they have to respond to you. I think that's something we've learned, is that that's part of their role as an MP, that you can't write to them and be left kind of unanswered. Although Nikki Aiken, if you're listening and watching, MP for Westminster, there's been 12 letters and we still haven't heard from you.
Oh, really?
Not my best friend at the moment, or Stevens. They have to respond. Stephen's designated chief liaison officer, so he's doing a lot of coaching and mentoring and stepping in on his group. So me and Helen were on one, I think last week, with the MP for Kensington and Chelsea.
Right.
That was, you know, I think it's so important, and we all, you know, all have this right to do it. So it doesn't, as Toby said, it takes 5 minutes to write your letter. We're up to something like 482 letters or something. So there's still about 600 or so. There's still a fair whack to get done.
Am I right in saying we've covered 44% of the constituents?
I think it's 48.
We're nearly at 50%.
Yeah.
And what's really, really cool is how many letters we've seen written directly to the Chancellor. There are some on our social, but honestly, pretty much every SNP is Scottish MPs. Maybe 25 of them wrote directly to Rishi Sunak.
Any opportunity they can to stab the opposition seems to be great. All the conservative MPs write back saying, "Thank you very much for your letter, under consideration, and we'll send this to Rishi." And all the opposition kind of garner everyone together. Sometimes the opposition's even better for us because it labours the point.
Yeah, and I think the other, I think last count I've seen four maybe cabinet ministers, and we can't really say who because it's not a cool thing to do, who have written to him and actually argued the case. And as we now know that there is a government department that is looking into this and listening to us, which is staggering.
And actually, it's worth noting that you guys are talking directly to Bays, aren't you? I think, do you do that bit, Helen?
Yes, I've got myself on the Bays committee. Poor them is all I'm going to say. But I think what was absolutely frightening.
Sorry to jump in. It might just be worth explaining what Bays is actually, because I didn't know until a few weeks ago.
I'll quickly do that just because I remember it, if you like. Bays is the business, energy and industrial strategy sector. It's the civil servants who advise the government on the safer opening, and now they are heading up the department which is called the personal services sector. So we're directly feeding information back to them. Helen's on the group with explain, Helen.
Yeah, so I mean, basically, it was all of our industry associations that were on that group: BABTAC, British Beauty Council, NHBF, Hair and Barber Council, and some individuals as well. There's Madeline from Treatwell, and but as a salon owner, employing staff and paying VAT, we were not represented, and so now I've got this guy's ear. And he's very keen to hear about what sort of situation we're in with regard to landlords and debt. So this is Paul Scully, who's the Minister for Small Businesses. So it's really, really great that now we have representation, because it's all very well and I'm not, all those organisations do a fantastic job. But at the end of the day, if none of us exist, their organisations won't exist either. Because we are the people that belong to them, so we need to stay solvent, and it's really important that someone who's holding the shop keys in their hand and paying the payroll and paying the VAT has a voice on those committees. So I am quite a loud voice, as you know, and so it's good.
I think sorry,
that's all right, go on, Stephen.
Any salon owner, hairdresser listening, be of no doubt the government is now completely aware of this industry. We're not being swept under the carpet anymore. Credit to the NHBF, who have produced an absolutely fantastic survey. We are absolutely on their radar, which is why we need your support now than ever. And if I might, Luke is our social media guru and absolutely brilliant at it. It might be worth Luke explaining what he needs from you from a social media perspective, Luke.
Thanks, Stephen. So I suppose what we've been doing, and you've probably seen it on the account, is just taking a picture of you with your letter. It's really, it's had a lot of coverage. People have regrammed it a lot. There's a kind of movement happening using the hashtag Save Our Salons. You've seen a lot of people in the industry do it, and I suppose as the more of that we can get, obviously. The letters going off is the number one priority, but supported by social media, whether that's, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram. We haven't, had the time to do a Facebook page. So, but, post that around, share it to your friends, share it to your fellow, salon friends, other salon owners in your area. The more people that are aware about this campaign, the better. I think we've done a really good job on lobbying. As Stephen said, that there is a much bigger awareness of this industry than ever before. And even me now understanding the size of this industry, I was absolutely gobsmacked when someone told me we're a third of the size of hospitality. We're a £6.6 billion industry. That's just what we turn over. That's the takings and the till. That's not, makeup or L'Oreal products or Weller products. That is just services that happen in this country. It's a massive industry,
and also a huge number of people,
of which 80% are female. What I think has dawned on us is that this is a time where, as an industry, our voice needs to be heard, and so that relies on every single one of us to do that job. whether that's through writing a letter, through social media, through speaking to clients of yours that might, you know, run the local paper or the local radio show. Or this is about standing up, being counted, and having your voice heard, and not letting hospitality get their piece of the cake while personal services like hairdressing and beauty get left behind. I think that's really important. People recognise that.
Can I just add one bit to that? Is that right?
Yeah, go on, because I'm getting loads of questions.
Okay, so the one thing I would add to it is what we talked about before is that the one thing I don't think people have done, I think they've done a lot of that, but we only have 489 definite responses that say they've done letters. We feel that it could be thousands.
Should be thousands.
People aren't filling in the survey. Please take an extra 60 seconds to answer those questions, and more than anything, so that Helen and we can feed back to BIS. I mean, just in the last half an hour, I've got an email from them saying they would like that feedback, and I think we're going to get that back to them tomorrow. So if we can get a ton of stuff overnight, it's going to be really good for us.
I've got sorry, apologies, I don't know your first name. It's come up as A. Stevens. Is this to include self-employed? Because I would really like to support this.
Right. So
yeah, sorry.
Who's going to deal with that one?
Well, I can deal with it. Essentially, this is a campaign that is trying to get VAT reduced. So if you are a VAT registered salon, then this directly affects you. I think this probably doesn't affect you if you're individual. Yeah.
Could be registered.
Yeah, I think if you're not a VAT registered individual or salon, then it probably doesn't affect you.
No. Okay. And the survey can be found on saveoursalons.co.uk.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's register now. It's register now. So you register what you've done and you answer the questions. Yeah.
All right. Helen Fuller asked that question, but she's also saying, I've written to my MP and he's ringing me Friday. I'm nervous he may ask me something I don't know how to respond to. Now, are they the type of calls that you guys will join and help coach people with? So how could Helen get support from one of you? Where does she email? Where does she go?
She goes to the email to the website and emails admin. That will come through to Stephen, and one of us will be there to hold her hand. And you know, the thing is, what we want to say to everyone is, you don't have to be a VAT expert. No. You're more of an expert than anyone else because you're paying it and employing the staff. So don't think, oh, someone's going to trip me up and they're going to ask me something I don't understand. Don't worry about it. You're paying VAT and employing staff in this sector. You're just as much of an expert as anybody else.
Okay, back to your Westminster point, Luke. Andrew Barnes, I have contact with Westminster's councillors if you'd like me to help. So maybe if Andrew, you can again go through to that email address, the guys will
that'd be great. Yeah,
come back to you, because I think all the help we can get with that is a positive thing. So
Jane, before we go on, do you think we should explain the difference between, because obviously people will probably be aware of the Chop the VAT,
yes,
which was the first campaign. I mean, I just wanted to just flag up, you know, we got intel to say that the MPs want to hear from their constituents and they want to hear the personal stories. They want to hear, if I don't get this VAT cut, I might have to get rid of 5 of my team. You know, that is the reason why we've gone this direction with it. We probably should have said that at the get-go, but that is the reason why. It's the personal story, and no one knows your personal story as well as you do. So you don't have to be frightened to talk to your MP. They're there to represent you. That's their job.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I know Barry Stephen. I think he was on BBC with one of you guys last week. So hi, Barry. He's watching. We have an opportunity for our industry to be taken seriously right now. We have been heard and we must now have change. And he's right. We need to garner the momentum that we've had through such a terrible situation and make it a positive change. And I know yes, we want the VAT reduction, but there's also the issue of the services versus having the same kind of idea as in Ireland, isn't there? So I don't know if you just want to explain a little bit about that.
First of all, hi Barry, look forward to seeing you later in the week, and thanks very much, because you've done an absolutely awesome job.
Really good job.
Thank you.
One key thing I want to make really clear: we don't make very much money in this industry. We do it because we love it. We put whatever we can in our pockets and all the rest of it, and yet we borrow 100 grand to keep our business afloat. What this will do, for every £100 you put through your till, we'll put an extra 12 quid in your hand. That is massive. It's huge. An extra 12 quid. Please don't discount. Please don't devalue yourself. Please don't do those things. None of us believe that's the right thing to do. If we get this thing through, and we, you know, in all likelihood, you know, we might not, but we've got a much bigger chance than we did have a few weeks ago, a huge bigger chance. And in fact, quoted the NHBF said, we've achieved more in 6 weeks than we have in 6 years. That's a huge thing. Please take that on into account. Don't discount. Look, let's keep our industry where it deserves to be and put the money back in the till. Sorry to.
No, absolutely. This one's quite amusing. Maybe we need to explain, Luke. Tash Byrne, why is Luke so dressed up? Has he not paid his electricity bill?
Can't afford it.
I thought your co-founder would appreciate that probably more than you, but it made me laugh a lot.
So I'm doing a video for a show for Fashion Week today, and I've snuck out for half an hour to do this, and I'm in a hallway and freezing cold.
Yeah, to be fair,
my jacket.
To put his coat on because he sat there without his coat and was literally going blue, so we felt he needed to put his coat on. Chris Grimley, he's written his letter but got a rubbish answer. I mean, what do you do? Do you go back?
Yes.
I mean,
we've seen a bit of this on Instagram. The standard answers. My dad got a pretty standard answer from our MP, his MP in Barnet. Go back, push for that meeting.
Yeah.
Push. Tell your personal story. Don't give up. Drive them mental. Drive them mad. Update them with as many letters as you can. They're elected to serve you.
No, it's true. So Kim Mullerhay, it's an interesting question. She says, as a consumer, it goes without saying that I very much miss the services at my salon. Is there a way for consumers to get involved in order to help garner any support?
We think that might be phase 2. We want to wait and see first till the 3rd of March and see, you know, where we stand. And then I think phase 2, that's when we'll talk more about the split rate, and we'll go into that because we think that is a long-term solution. We really, really do. I don't know if you want us to explain that now, Jane.
Yes,
do you?
I think, yes.
Okay.
Please.
But well, first of all, I just want to say, you know, I for one will not be passing this reduction if we get it on to our customers, because that 12p in the pound, as I'm saying, is for us to help. You know, furloughing staff is not free.
No, it's not.
We are incurring debt every single day. Employers NI, I'm still paying 50% rent. You know, we're incurring debt every single day, which is why we're on the brink of, you know, we are literally a time bomb here. And it's how long we can go on incurring the debt, because at some point, and this is the feedback we've had, if you've got the shop keys in your hand, you're going to think to yourself, actually, I might as well just put that company bust, wait, open again. I'm not going to rack up any more debt, but think of all the jobs that are going to get lost. So we are not, I personally would not be passing this on to my customers. And hospitality, I would love to meet someone who paid 15% less from July when they got their VAT cut.
You mean,
because I didn't.
You mean
put in the chat, completely agree, keep the money in the till, we're going to need it. What would you say to a client if they ask if we're passing on the savings to them?
They won't even
tell them exactly.
Relevant to customers. It's just.
I agree.
I would tell them exactly what Helen just said, and you know that the reason that they'll be coming back and sitting in that chair is because people like myself, Helen, Stephen, and all the people listening to this have been taking on debt for the past year in order to keep those keys in our hand.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to think about, you know, most restaurants have done some kind of takeaway service. You know, lots of those guys have been able to generate income throughout lockdown, and fair play to them for that, being creative in doing so. We can't do that. No. It's completely impossible.
They've had Eat Out to help out. Yes. Whereas we've had nothing. So we're asking for this playing field just to be fair.
Yeah.
And in terms, sorry,
to Chris Grimley's point, you don't have to pass it on to clients. It is for the business to make that decision. It's not.
No one else would be in any other sector. Stop worrying about those. They're coming to you. They love you. The in terms of the split rate thing, one of the strong arguments, look, is Ireland do it, and they do it for a reason. They do it because we are one of the most taxed industries in the land. We add all our value through labour. Every bit of labour attracts a huge amount of tax in itself. And we pretty much, for every 120 quid, pay the whole 20 quid VAT because we've added value through labour, which isn't something. The only thing we can claim back is the shampoo and the colour we use. So we're already on a very unlevel footing. And I think it's really important to push to your MPs how much tax you pay. And I think that's a really important part.
I use the example of a shoe shop, right? If VAT is an input and an output tax. So if you've got a shoe shop and you buy your shoes, you pay VAT on the shoes that you buy in. You then pay VAT on the output of the shoes you sell. So that equates to that. Doesn't work for us. Our sector, it never has done. But this is the real chance where phase 2 will be, regardless of whether we get this, to push for something long term that has this split rate. So you're paying the same rate of VAT as retail pay on any sales you make, like a sales tax, and you're paying a lower rate. Ireland currently paying 9% on services and 21% on goods. And we want to see the same thing. And if it works over there, but we also will be campaigning to get rid of the threshold. So those that fall out, there won't be all this trying to stay under the threshold all the time. And the people that will go over the threshold, which will be everybody, put their prices up by 5%.
Yeah, because I've had a comment about there are hundreds of small salons not registered for VAT that are at risk not being able to open because the support just hasn't been there from Michelle Davis, and she's right. We need it to be a level playing field for everybody, I think. There is a lot of love and respect for you guys coming in, so you know.
There's a lot of what?
Lots of love and respect for the work you're doing. And I know that you are genuinely, I mean, Helen, we've spoken on a number of occasions, and I know I've spoken to the other guys as well, but an inordinate amount of time that you're all spending to make this happen. And I think it's worth reiterating the point again, for those that weren't here maybe at the beginning, that this isn't about individuals or certain names or anybody else. I dragged you guys on here because you're the founder, and I think we do have to say again a big thanks to Kim, who didn't join us today, who's actually putting something together for the Treasury as we speak, from what you guys said earlier, from Errol Douglas doing a huge amount of work in the background too. It is about putting any competitive element aside, and everybody from wherever, what other colour house, doesn't matter what association you're in, and working as one to push this forward.
Absolutely.
You know, we really need to get that message across.
And Jane, you know as well as I do, there are a lot of cracks that we're seeing, of all our Zoom calls that we have as trustees every week for THBC. We're in dire straits, and we really need to get this through.
You guys don't mind, but I'm going to mention that. So for people that are having a really difficult time, they should approach the Hair and Beauty charity. Helen and I are both trustees, and we are meeting every week now to give people that need that help and support however we can. So equally, anybody needs help or needs help, then you should tell us. And also, I think a big thank you to the people that continue to fundraise even in these times to make sure that we can help those who are in such desperate need.
As trustees, we took a choice, didn't we, to ring fence funds to help those funds have been ring fenced to help those that are going through a really difficult time at the moment, and there's plenty of those, sadly.
So Leah Short, I mean, it's a good point, Leah Short. Realistically, with budget in mind, we have until Thursday to get as many people on board, and she's right. We're working. It's a tight time frame. You need as many people to fill in the survey and do the letter as possible in the next 24, 48 hours. But actually, it doesn't stop there, does it? Because this is something that you're going to keep pushing for to get the right result.
I think that we now have the attention of government and the Treasury in particular. So absolutely, our mission as a team was to have every MP in the country receive 2 letters. And we're about 50% of the way to achieving that. So we really need, if this was a marathon, we're in the final 5 miles. And we need the extra push. Yes, absolutely.
I think the other thing to mention is we spoke with Richard Lambert, Chief Exec of the NHBF yesterday, and what he's done brilliantly is he's commissioned a report onto the state of the industry through COVID and what it really needs in order to survive and to keep to a minimum any kind of closures or businesses that are gonna that aren't going to survive. And what was unbelievable in the report was that what we have been striving for, the synergy between kind of his summary or his company summary and what we were striving for was absolutely united. On top of the VAT reduction, he's also seeking a fund to help the smaller businesses that are under the VAT threshold. But really, his data backs up is all the data that the Treasury needs to really understand how the figures stack up. So it even went to the extent to say, if you do this amount of salons will close. If you do that amount of salons close. If you don't do anything, then this is what's going to happen. And I think that the summary was that if we get this reduction, it will actually pay for itself over the next few years, which was an amazing, and it shows the strength of this industry, that actually it is the beating heartbeat of every community up and down this country. And when high street can be digitalized with retailers, you cannot digitalize the experience of having your hair cut. It's why we are at the moment should feel so empowered that we cannot be turned into a digital operation, and that we actually have a voice that's bigger and louder and needs to be listened to more so now than ever before.
Yeah, and it is, again, I want to read for those that are watching, it is hair and beauty, or hair salons, beauty salons, anybody that falls in the personal care sector, they want to get behind this. Interesting question here from Jenny Stokes Hilliard. Before going into the first lockdown, my salon was doing well as a new business, currently in year 4, and would have hit the VAT threshold. Obviously, it didn't happen because of COVID, so not VAT registered, but I have no doubt that my salon will thrive again in the future. Should I still write to my MP?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I think yes. The more people that write just to raise awareness of the campaign, even, you know.
Please do, Jenny. Yes.
The press can write. PR.
Yeah, I mean, I think that point's come up quite a lot, and one we were talking to Richard about yesterday, and that actually, you know, this becomes everyone's problem, because if we get to that 85k threshold, one of the things you've got to be concentrating on is how quickly do you get to 120k, so that it's actually a net effect. And that seems just a really arbitrary, unfair situation at the moment, that we're kind of penalizing people for taking, you know, between 80 and 120k. It doesn't make any sense.
And it's equally as important, because, as Helen has alluded to, perhaps there's a longer term conversation about zero threshold. So absolutely, please do. Yes.
Again, Aaron Dawn said he's been fobbed off by his local politician. What should I do now? Go back. And would one of you guys
go back? Shame him on Instagram. Shame them on. Just throw them under the bus.
Send us an email, admin@SaveOurSalons. Honestly, we'll give them something. At the end of the day, we have responded.
So we will pop that in the Facebook chat. So it's admin@saveoursalons.co.uk.
Yeah.
Anybody who wants to get feedback from one of you guys or some help and support. I can't believe we're already 5 minutes over. There is
stats. Shall I very quickly run through some stats? Is that interesting for you?
Yeah, please, Toby.
All right, just to say from the survey so far, fantastic for responding. Thank you very much. One quick shout out is we've got 3,500 followers on Instagram, but only 10% of those have answered the thing. So please do it. But just saying, you know, one of the key questions was, have you thought of closing your business? Or are you considering closing your business currently? Currently running at 58% of people are considering closing down. I think that's a massive stat. Yeah. Another stat, which was in there, we asked the question, what effect would reducing VAT have on the survival of your business? 81% of people said it's critical. So this is like, let's all get behind it, because this is the chance we've got. In terms of rent and support, we estimate that 75% of people have had no support from their landlords. We were looking at debt and looked at debt. 91% of people taking on debt, and we're calculating how much that is, but some by as much as £500,000, which is fairly, well, it's huge numbers of debt to take on, because we're still paying all these things. And the other one was that 80% 4% of salons said they were actually lay off people with a good viable job, people that they want to keep, but they think they're going to have to lay them off. So big numbers, but these things are critical to get back to the personal services sector. The head of that, like Helen said, to the small business minister and to the civil servant is heading that up. And so we want to do that with as much clout as possible. Had something like 350 responses. We'd love another 350 overnight. Fill it in whether you're VAT registered or not. It'd be interesting to hear people's points of view. So
there was also a stat, wasn't there, about employing apprentices, Toby? Or
sorry, yes,
like, you know,
sorry. The other question we asked was, given the impact of COVID, how likely are you to employ apprentices? 60% said they were very unlikely, and a further 20 said they were unlikely. So close to 80% of people are now saying, I'm not going to take on apprentices because I won't be able to afford them.
And
so
we
it's
need
another big stat, and we need that for the business.
We need it for the future of the industry.
The future, it's the skill sets. You know, where are we going to be in 5 years' time? Skills shortage. And
we want people to be able to come into the industry, because everyone on this call knows it, the opportunities that are available. It's fantastic. So we need to get it sorted so that we can keep growing and developing new recruits too. I think that's hugely important. We've dropped the chat in. So finally, go to the saveoursalons.co.uk website, take the 6 steps, write to your MP, undertake the survey, preferably in the next 24 hours, please, everybody that's watching, to help these guys, because they are giving up a huge amount of their own time. Any last messages from you before we close the session, anybody? Have we missed anything?
I don't think so. I think we just want everyone to just get those statistics. We have got a very finite amount of time now to get those statistics in. So please, the survey is the most important thing.
Absolutely. You know, this is our opportunity to make a real difference. So let's do it, please. Absolutely.
No, that's brilliant.
Thank you very much.
If we win, at least I don't have to look at this lot anymore.
Shut up, you.
It's fantastic to see competitors effectively working together so brilliantly for that one single aim, which is for the good of everybody. So everybody needs to, get on board and support you guys and support themselves and support the industry. Thank you so much for taking the time to come.
Thanks, Jane, and thanks for this exposure. It's really good. Thank you.
Thank you. Pleasure. Luke, I hope you get warm.
Thank you.
And let's see your pictures later.
And we'll see you soon. Thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
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 Cheers, thanks.